Come, you ladies and gentlemen, listen to my song. I'll sing it to you right, but you might think it's wrong. It may make you mad, but it mean no harm. Just about the renters on Penny's farm. And it's hard times in the country, out on Penny's farm. You move out on a Penny's farm, plant a little crop of tobacco and a little crop of corn. And come around, he'll flit and fly till he gets himself a mortgage on everything you got. And it's hard times in the country, out on Penny's farm.
Water. It's one of our planet's most precious resources.
The intensity building for some 7 years. It was extremely hot, extremely dry. We were extremely short of our annual rainfall, and that made our livestock carrying capacity diminish greatly. We cut back about 80% of our cattle to deal with the fact that we just didn't have water in pastures. This extended drought that we've been experiencing here in Texas now for some years has been a serious impact on agriculture. The farmer his crops have been diminished greatly up on the plains, South Plains, up into the Panhandle. If they did have any production, it was very minimal.
Well, most farmers and ranchers are older folks, and when they sell out, they probably are not going to buy back. And they're getting out of the business. It's pretty tough to get back into it whenever, it's not been raining and you can't expect on what normally used to happen.
Texas continues to be one of the fastest growing states in the United States. Farmers are not the only ones affected by the drought. Rural and urban dwellers alike have been wrecked by its widespread ruin.
We also usually have about 29 to 30 inches of rainfall, and we had 13 inches in 2011. We knew we were coming in on a drought of record, and so by the time we got into 2013, we were at that 32% that we had seen in the last drought.
50% of the water use in El Paso comes from the Rio Grande and 50% from underground sources. But because the river is been on a drought for many, many years now, we don't get allowance, full allowance from the river to supply us with water.
In 1939, the state of Texas established 216 soil and water conservation districts in the wake of the devastating Dust Bowl years.
We deal directly with the landowners through our conservation districts. The districts find the landowners. They also provide the technical assistance to implement a conservation plan before we do the work.
The producer will relate to their local soil and water conservation district, and it's a real partnership. It's really a great local, state, and federal partnership. They help carry out these programs that either the state or the federal, which is the National Resource Conservation Service, that's the federal arm.
The state then takes those two subbasins and does a spatial analysis on those two subbasins, which breaks that subbasin down even more into high, medium, and low yielding priority areas.
It tends to maybe be looking a little bit better as we look ahead, but we're still there and we've got to deal with it. I think that's the fundamental thing that we've got to do, the realization that this is a real deal. And then the other thing is that we're going to probably have to fundamentally change the way we've been doing business. When the gasoline got high, we changed the way we did business. When water gets short and gets high, we're going to change the way we approach things.
In the southern high plains, the last time I saw the numbers, the estimate was like 90 to 95% of the groundwater use is by irrigating farmers. So the municipalities use some. Every municipality up here uses groundwater. But the amount of water is relatively small compared to this large extent of areas where we have irrigation.
Pump that water, say from 280 feet now, where I was telling you that we started out pumping it from about 100 feet. People become well aware the last few years they better be careful, better take care of things.
Debates are raging over who actually owns this precious resource.
Do you own the water that you're pumping from the Ogallala?
You damn right I do. How's that? And you know why? Because everything under here is mine. We used to water with side rolls, but our West Texas winds in the spring just are too much to water efficiently or water for any length of time. We have to shut down when the wind was blowing, so we went to this, and it seemed to work real well.
Drip irrigation is a method where buried water lines drip slowly throughout the day, getting water directly to the plant roots.
We understand there's a limited amount of fresh water that's available as groundwater, but we also have another quantity of brackish water. So we're taking that brackish water, we're treating that, discharging it into the system, and we're saving that amount that we would have normally used out of the freshwater reserve.
Osmosis is a naturally occurring process where a solvent, such as water, passes through a semi-permeable barrier. The semi-permeable barrier, or membrane, allows some things to pass through it, but not others. In nature, the direction of flow through the membrane is from a less concentrated solution, such as fresh water, to a more concentrated solution, such as seawater, until equilibrium is reached. Reverse osmosis is when the opposite occurs. By pressurizing the concentrated solution, the seawater, we are able to force water molecules to pass from the salty seawater solution through the membrane to the fresh water.
It can take up to 5 million gallons of fresh water to frack one well. This high demand for fresh water almost caused the Fasken Ranch to use up all of its surface water.
Our surface land manager here began to tell us that he was seeing a change in the water on the ranch, what little he had anyway. He was seeing some depletion of the wells, and a lot of it was driven by the drought that we've been in for a number of years. But we've also was using the water to frack with. If we don't frack, we will not be commercial. We could not afford to drill a well and complete it.
I've tried to educate myself about how I can make a green, lush landscape with less water and better plants for the environment.
We can make a difference. We can make a change. When we all work together, things can't stay the same. Every generation, won't you lend a hand? Join with your fellow man. You and I, yes we can.
Whether you're a rancher or a banker, an adult or child, whether you use water for work or play or in everyday life, it is going to take all of us to protect and preserve the water resources we have.